It's the podcast.
Tuesday, which means it's the podcast day.
What did you do on Labor Day? Did you labor? No.
Yeah, I did. I labored.
Heather made the family lasagna.
Heather did this roll call. Whoever could come. Corrie's making a lasagna lunch.
Everyone shows up for that. It's very good. Here's the thing: my cousin, who likes to dabble over an oven, was like, "What jar of tomato paste did you use?" And Corey's like, I gathered it from the tomato garden.
This is homemade, sweetheart.
And her face was like, oh my God.
I don't want the recipe anymore. Simmering for an hour.
It was delicious. I actually turned around to see if there were seconds available, and there was not.
There was not. Listen, sad day. I've made it for 10 years now. If you want the recipe, I will put it together. Jen asked for the recipe, so I have to type it out. Anywho.
I'll put it in the group.
All right, if you would like that recipe.
Lasagna working group.
It's a meat-heavy recipe.
Lasagna sugar cookie working group. What is this podcast about?
This podcast is actually a spin-off from a group on Facebook called the Sugar Cookie Marketing group.
You can't open mouth cough into people's ears.
I had a cashew. Anyways, we have 46,000 bakers and counting that are in the group, so we can obviously see this overhead view, like a helicopter view of things that are going on in the industry. What is going on now is we woke up this morning to 58-degree weather. It is fall, and that means it is the start of the Super Bowl season for bakers, where you get the most orders
it's also
you get
the start
all
of
year.
The Super Bowl season, like the NFL season kicks off.
No clue.
Kicks off. Pun intended.
Oh, nice.
This month.
Nice. So it's the Super Bowl season for bakers, as far as you're going to make a big chunk of your yearly money in the next few months.
I always think of us in terms of landscapers. Like landscapers mow all summer. And then they just hope for snowstorms if they've diversified and become the plow guys. But this is our mow all summer.
Right.
We have come out of the doldrums of the J months.
The reason
and we have
why
arisen as a phoenix, much like Corey's tattoo.
People have stopped traveling. People aren't traveling anymore. Instead, they have people coming into town, so they like to show up. You have a lot of holidays coming, so a lot of people like to buy things for teachers for the holidays, like to bring gifts for the hostess. So
Platters, Thanksgiving. In my head, they're married. Halloween, Cheetle Weedles.
Corporate Christmas gifts are huge.
Delicious. Cookie class season.
Absolutely, because you have your kids coming home from college, bored. What do I do with them? You have family coming in. So tis the season to rake in the cash.
Yeah, buddy. This
if
is my
you wanted
to.
So what we wanted to do is preemptively help you, because as you are open during these holiday seasons, you're going to be making more sales. You have more opportunity to be a human and make mistakes. And it's not if, it's when.
Stinks.
You can't make everybody happy. Everyone has different taste. Some people like almond extract. Some people don't like it. If I like sweet desserts. Okay. If I am eating dessert, I want to taste every calorie that's going to my waistline. So I have customers who don't like things as sweet, and they're going to have an issue with things that I make because I like it super sweet. So what is the topic for today?
It is called Cookie Crime Scene. Don't look back, look forward. And that I'm just seeing how many cookie class tickets we sold. We have an October class and a December class. We are almost sold out of the October class, 8 tickets sold out of 10. And the December class is 5 tickets sold out of 10.
Oh, nice.
Not bad. And it is only...
It was very covered.
Close your mouth.
I just had to really get a good one to get the...
I'm sorry. I would like to apologize. If you guys would like to turn the podcast off.
Heather gave me garlic salted seaweed cashews.
I got them from Whole Foods.
They're very, very good.
They were not very, very cheap.
But you need a little
interesting snacky waggy.
Yeah, if you eat just straight up cashews, they can be bland.
They're bland.
Yeah, but salted cashews better.
But
garlic salted seaweed cashews.
Corey didn't want to try the Thai curry.
I had one. It was very spicy.
I like it.
I don't like the thing.
Okay, it's Cookie Crime Scene. Don't look back, look forward. And we're going to start with a story. 2 stories. A couple stories. Greatest stories. Tell us about Gam's Breaking Cup. That's what it leads with.
This morning I came in. My grandmother loves a good morning coffee, so she was going to pour herself a little glass of coffee. She goes, little glass. What is it? Cup of coffee? Yeah. Little glass, little milk jar of coffee. She goes to grab one of her favorite cups and drops it. It instantly shatters, makes a million pieces. The first thing that came to my mind is, This is what I said. I said, it's okay. I said, we can't unbreak it. The most thing that we can do is pretend it never happened. So I get out the vacuum cleaner. She's like, but it was my favorite cup. I said, great thing. We can buy an identical cup out there.
But what you can't do is have that cup ever again.
You can't.
No, it's gone. So we can spend the whole day lamenting this broken cup, or we can acknowledge the facts are what they are. The cup is gone.
You can't unbreak it.
No, but we can start the search for a new cup. We can find a comparable cup. We can have a little cup burial.
What you can't, and what we don't want you to do is to beat yourself over something that can't be undone.
Even if you did something wrong. In reality, Ruth Ann did drop the cup. She did not. The assignment was hold on to it. She did not, right? So it's unfortunate mistakes, intentional or otherwise. A lot of times you see people come to the group and they're like, I already replied to this client and I was really upset. Did I do everything right? Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you did it right or wrong. All we can do is work forward to mitigate what has been done. Even if you wrote incorrectly or you wrote with too much emotion, we can't go back in time.
Something even as you sent cookies via the mail and they arrived broken. You can't unbreak the cookies. The cookies have arrived broken. Now the only thing you can do is how can I make
What's our
this
plan of action moving forward? We can't do a plan of action in the past because that is the one guarantee is we can't go back there. Another story to kind of tie this together is more of a cognitive podcast. I'll be out of town tomorrow and I don't want to write a lot. Corrie has this community group. I've stepped in, I've cleaned it up over the last months, but this all came to a head on Christmas Day this past year where one of the volunteer admins had let in a page. You know that we don't let pages in a group because the anonymity is pretty dangerous when things go wrong. You can hide behind
a page and say whatever you want and I can't find you. I can't find the person behind the account.
Corrie and Heather manage group, you're not a page. That's just how it is. And there is this page in the group. The issue was that it was like a charcuterie business, which is pretty interesting. And I think the vendor was very talented, however, overbooked themselves on Christmas Day, right? So these are all being delivered. And vendors who do that, vendors who work holidays, go you. Wow, love it. You're making everyone's life a lot easier by making your life a lot harder. I hope you're charging accordingly. But the charcuterie business had overbooked themselves and then had to hire help for delivery, was producing these, right? But the delivery driver on the walk-in drops the charcuterie board.
And it wasn't a little charcuterie.
It was a huge charcuterie. It was a charcuterie. Anyways, the driver who was, I think, just driving for Uber. I think it was one of those. It was not somebody with a connection to the business. Just says, "Oops, I dropped this." Had no replacement.
You can't undrop it,
right? You can't undrop it. But the business owner felt overwhelmed and blocks the client who's like, where is my charcuterie board?
The problem is the client is heated. The charcuterie board was going to be the food for their little
Christmas
gathering.
Morning, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, the max amount of things that could go wrong went wrong. But instead of addressing it right there, she said, if I close my eyes and stick my head in the sand, this never happened. Corey's got to let the cat out. He realized the door was shut. Goodbye. Why, do you want to come back in? No.
Yeah, he looks like he was going slow.
So what happened was of course it leaves this huge dramatic cleanup for Corrie and I on Christmas
because
Day.
Here's the thing. She was blocked the customer was blocked, so couldn't reach out to the page.
But the customer was not blocked from the group, and that's where she was ranting. And she had every right to. However, the takeaway here is that the business owner had made this mistake. It was out of everyone's control. It was somebody who tripped walking in. But instead of saying, how can I address this moving forward, they stuck their head in the sand and said, I'm going to pretend this never happened.
Yeah.
And it just escalated and escalated and escalated. So bringing it back to bakery, where it keeps getting away.
Trying to get closer because you always do.
I do, but you just got far. We're very close. Bye. Corey's outside. So bringing it back to what we see in the baking, I mean, in these groups, and I love the tools that these groups provide, but it's somebody's like, here, I just told my client I hated them. Did I do this okay? Like, no, that wasn't okay. You did it wrong. You did it incorrectly. There was 10 times better options to say, but we can't undo what you said. So don't come to these groups and say, did I do okay? No, this is not a report card. We're not your teachers.
I also say, don't ask a question you don't want the answer to.
Yeah. Corrie and I and Amy, we have, we're sitting in these threads. If you guys think a thread goes up and one of us isn't sitting refreshing it constantly, you're incorrect. We have no lives. But what happens in these threads is someone's like, I did this wrong. And everyone's like, yeah, you did it worse than wrong. You did it terribly. That's not the right question to ask. And this is kind of the premise I want. Do you want to be heard or do you want to be helped? If you want to be heard, you just want to be validated. I look at my client. Can you believe they did this? And I can see the way that the posts are spun. Yeah. And there's a lot of spun content in these groups because we don't want to be told that we're wrong.
Absolutely not.
We know we're wrong. That's why we're asking. Please tell me I didn't do it wrong. So we don't want to be helped because someone's like, hey, you probably could have done this better. You don't understand. They're always like, you want to be heard, not helped. Mm-hmm. So you'll see that we typically lock the threads of somebody who just wants to vent, who wants to rant. Because they
don't want help. They just want to be told they're right. Mm-hmm. And you can see they're combative in the comments that say, hey, I would have done it this way. I would have done it differently. They side against those people and they're like fighting them in the comment section. But if someone's like, yeah, I would have done that too. I block them. They're like, yeah, right. Am I right? I know, right?
Taking my car and run it into that car. Oh yeah, see, that's but what you want to be heard. You want to rant. You want to vent. You don't want to be helped. When you come to the group and you ask for validation, I think typically you also know you didn't approach this correctly, and you're about to sit with. I was in another group. I did not comment on other groups. I am scared of them myself. I'm scared of oogly boogly what comes out of the comments. But this person had posted, they're like, it was a complex situation because they were like, here's what the client wanted, here's what I ordered. Yes, they honestly looked like the same to me, but the client was unhappy.
Okay.
And she was like, what should I do? And it's probably 100 comments because one of those mega groups. Yeah. 100 comments saying the client's wrong, don't refund. And that may be the right answer. I couldn't see any difference in the cookies. Yeah. But I want to be like, for everyone who said, no, the client's wrong, I'd never block them. Are you going to help the poster with the bad review they're going to get? So then the poster goes back and update. Thank you everybody so much for telling me not to refund. I won't. Just waiting for the bad review. Like, oh my goodness. Like, because the true business problem is handling that bad review. It is. Whether or not you're right or wrong about those cookies, and they did look identical to me. I couldn't find a difference myself. Everyone was just saying the one part that leads to the lack of strategy for the result. The result is the client's unhappy. What do unhappy people do? The same thing OP is doing. They take it to groups and they rant and they vent. They want to be heard. They don't want to be helped.
Same with the charcuterie customer. She couldn't get a resolution with the charcuterie board company.
She was going to get a resolution though.
So what she did was lambast the charcuterie board company in a community group that would buy from the charcuterie board. I
pay you $50 not to lambast
Absolutely.
Me, let alone just to refund the product. So everyone comes to the group and I know you feel unsafe saying don't refund. I don't delete comments that say don't refund. I do delete comments that say run, block, because those are pointless. You're not constructively adding to the cookie crime scene. The cookie crime scene has already been committed, right? The cookies broken shipment, the icing bled, the colors are off. We all know that. We can't go back in time. The cookies have been delivered. We can't go back in time and fix that problem. But we can fix the future. And the way that we fix the future is by approaching this is, like Corrie said, we can't unbreak the cup, but we can start finding a replacement cup for you. I think a lot of times, though, that like, I hate that you broke the cup. The cup is broken. Oh, broke the cup. Like, those are worthless filler content. You're not addressing the fact that we need a strategy to pull us out of the broken cup land and get us into fixed cup land. And if that's like, hey, I think this can actually be fixed and here's how I'd fix it, therein lies the strategy. That's what this group's about. I don't want this group to be about block and run. Yikes.
That's why my next thing is stop, drop, roll your eyes
before you reply. And that's a great one because why?
The reason why you want to give some space between what just happened and your response, or what just happened and you running to a local group, is because the way that you're going to respond is very emotional. We're emotional creatures. These little artworks come from the heart. We're baking love into the ingredients. Heartworks. Our heartworks were made with love, and we have a lot of our one, emotions tied to it. A little bit of our ego is tied to it. So when someone says, I don't like that.
Also, our finances are tied to it. And money makes things weird.
There's a lot of emotional things that are tied to what we create. So it's very easy to get swept up with emotion when someone doesn't like something that you poured your heart and soul into.
I want to say, like, if you could look at your business as a drop shipper of cookies. If you guys don't know the business model of drop shipping, it's you're the middleman. You find a vendor selling a product. Essentially, you're saying, I'm going to market this product, and when I make a sale, I'm just going to forward that sale onto the vendor. So let's say the vendor sells a product for $10. You market it for $20. When somebody buys a product, you send the sale to the vendor, but you keep $10. There's no emotion. All that middleman is to market well and make sure everyone's taken care of. Because there's no, they didn't create the product. They're not selling the product. They didn't patent the product. All they do is want the money. And how do you maximize cash flow? Is you maximize customer service. But when Corrie said, okay, now we're the vendor and the drop shipper, we're saying, hey, I made this, my blood, sweat, and tears, my creativity, my years of experience and trials and tribulations, I've created this recipe. And it happens to have almond extract in it. Okay, there is a subset of the pop. It's so funny. If someone said like, I don't like the shade of purple, the group, the mob mentality of the group dynamics will be like, it's purple, icing's not the same. But if it tastes like soap, everyone knows that if something tastes like soap, it's likely because the recipe has almond extract in it. And there's a subset of the population that interprets almond extract as a soapy taste.
Same as cilantro. It's those two weird things.
I don't think cilantro tastes good. I wish it doesn't taste like anything good to me. So, but when the group gets like, oh, my client saying this tastes like soap, everyone's like, well, this they're using almond extract. And it's such a different reality when we are like, okay, that's a common occurrence. It's not the client's an idiot. It's like, oh, our tongues are made differently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then here's what you need to know. So you can only move forward. You cannot go back. So all your questions in these groups, all your questions to yourself is, how can I mitigate this further? And Corrie's greatest step there is stop, drop, roll your eyes before you reply. Because give yourself some space for that emotion to dissipate. I get a lot of emails from you guys, and it's written so abruptly and abrasively. And I could tell that you grabbed your phone, your heart rate is pegged to the rev limiter, and you're just typing what is in your mind. And then I don't reply to you. And then I get, because you're writing so fast, then it'd be like, forget what I said. I'm sorry, I was misunderstood. I was confused. It happens so often that I get 2 emails back to back with the one that you misinterpreted, maybe an action, and then you get so angry, and then you realize when you've had a couple minutes to think like, oh shoot, I did something wrong here. So we don't want to ever reply when that heart rate is elevated, because it fogs that cortisol, fight or flight response.
Yeah, you're not wrong to feel like if someone's not happy with something that you made, to feel like I got to get ahead of it. It's going to ruin my day if I don't respond right now. But you're so emotional. It's human nature to want to defend yourself. Well, the colors were as close. There's no exact Robin X
my
blue.
Policies. You can say my policies till you're dead in the grave. It doesn't stop bad reviews. It's just a mitigation effort.
Yes. So what you want to do, instead of just trying to take that emotion and get into your messages, get into your email, respond as fast as you can, it's give it some space. Your heart rate's pumping. Your feelings are hurt. You feel attacked. You feel down low. Here's the thing. Give it some space, and you're going to... I liked, as a group admin, and maybe this is just because we've admin for so long, I like to look at a situation and see it from both perspectives. How is the customer right here? But I can also see where the baker's right. When you can take the step back and see, I can see how the customer didn't like how this color didn't match exactly. And I, as the baker, didn't say that I try to get as close as I can. I told her, yeah, I can do that color. Then you can answer in a way that you can come with constructive help, a solution, versus the defensiveness. Because when you're defensive, then you leaving no choice to the customer than to be defensive of their opinion back to you.
It was interesting in the last week in the main group, the sugar cookie marketing group, a poster had said like, hey, in my local community group, we have the Saturday sales thread. It's the only time you're allowed to sell. And everyone was posting links to their business. And I posted a link to my cookie business. And the admin of the group only replied to one person, and it was me. And it said, $5 a cookie, ? And she's like, I don't I don't know what to do. Should I reply? Should I defend my prices? Should I ignore
Yeah.
it? She said, I don't necessarily want to ignore it. I'm the only person that admin replied to. But she's also said, I want to defend my prices, but I don't want to be banned from the group. So what do I do? And I was like, here's what I reply. Like, hey, yeah, I know, right? The custom cookies, the custom cutters, the expensive ingredients, it all adds up. But I find that my clients kind of prefer kind of that luxury experience because it's not necessarily that they're treating this like food as much as they're like this custom gift I made for my, brother-in-law's wedding or something. And she's like, but I'm writing this, I would say, but I understand that $5 per cookie is a lot. And please note that you can find me in the dark alley behind a grocery store with a packet of Oreos when I want to save money and treat myself. So she was like, she locked her thread and she's like, I'm going to paste exactly what Heather said. And she did. And she's like, goes back and edits her post, which I never get the resolution, but I'm so happy she did. She was like, it's so funny. The admin replies like, oh, I knew. I was just trying to get my budget. The admin had said, oh, is it $5 a cookie? Not $5 a cookie.
Yeah, but you can't. The way we are reading is we're very defensive.
Because $5 a cookie is ridiculous.
It is.
I think every time
I wouldn't pay what I charge.
Everyone makes a sale. We're like, oh, somebody paid that $78 for our cookie cost. Do they know who we are? We're idiots. But in that, the admin had said $5 a cookie and then writes back, oh, I was just planning because I have this event coming up. I just wanted to know if it was like $5 like a cookie or like if there's a dozen things because I would like to place an order. And it was so funny.
But do you see if the baker came at defensive, well, I'm worth it.
It costs a lot to make this stuff. Yeah. Then the admin now has to be on the defensive because you came at them.
Yeah.
And the admin has the upper hand. It's their group. Mm-hmm. You're one click away from being banned forever.
Mm-hmm. Me and Heather aren't like some amazing repliers where we've never replied incorrectly.
How about you, Benny?
We've just been doing this so long that we've had our right customers who end up in our inboxes and they're so emotional. And it turns out it wasn't even that they were mad at us. They were mad at some other vendor and they were just taken out on us. And that's how we've come to realize that it's rarely ever something that can't be solved with a solution that's not emotional.
But yeah. The greatest takeaway here is this isn't rocket science nor brain surgery. It is cookies. It is bakeries. Nobody dies on the other end of a refund or no refund, right? But what we are is we're strategizing. You were talking like we have these clients and they're emotional because it's their business. It's their livelihood. We're talking about money. We're talking about paying for the roof over your head. But in reality, and what I find myself doing is I always say, like, let's say somebody messaged me from one of our memberships and they're like, well, you didn't do this or why was all these things. My initial thoughts always like, well, you're wrong. And I have the reasons for it. I'll never reply immediately if I know they're wrong. If they're right, I'll reply immediately because I'm like, it got me there. If they're wrong, I'll give myself 24 hours because I'm like, you're wrong. You're wrong here. In 24 hours. Okay. If they're wrong here, how can I find a spot where we both acknowledge that there's an issue, but I can solve it for them as well?
Yeah.
And so somebody was like, well, I thought the digital downloads were in the Baker's Business Basics. Like, oh, we discontinued that. But like, what does it cost me to be like, but which one do you want?
Yeah.
I'll just send it to you. It cost me nothing to do that. Initially I want to be like, you're wrong. They're not included.
Yeah.
But okay, just let me, if you need one, just let me know. Even though that's not included, I'd be happy to do you a solid here. I look like a saving grace. I'm still able to honor the policy if they're not included, but what can I do? How can I help? What can we find like a common ground here?
Even my neighbor yesterday taste tested some cookies. She got some cookies and she was like, hey, can I give you some feedback? I didn't want it, but I was like, absolutely.
I have a visceral response to the phrase, can I give you some feedback? And I know it's something we got to work on.
But I said, listen, who am I to say no? And I said, oh, I'd love some feedback. And she's like, did you change your icing recipe? And my heart wanted to be like, did your taste buds break? No, I was like, actually, no. I said, why? What happened? What were you tasting? She's like, it's just a little sweeter than normal. And I said,
she'd gotten a double layer icing.
She got a double layer icing.
My personal favorite.
Heather loves a double layer.
Was it the cat paw?
It was a skeleton face.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot of icing on there. So she was like, yeah, it was just a little sweeter than normal. And what I wanted to be like, yeah, they're double the amount of icing. And I was like, that's so funny. My husband actually prefers the cookies with just a single layer of icing too. I said those ones had a double layer, so I could definitely see why it was just too sweet.
Do you acknowledge that there's a difference of opinion, but both opinions are right? and that's a phrase that set my brain free. Your feelings are 100% accurate, even if they're 100% different than mine.
Yeah.
Because your feelings and your reality are constructed off of years of experiences I'm not privy to. I have no idea what you've gone through to form that opinion, which is why I say with politics, they're so divisive. But of course, there's people with different preferences in politicians because their experiences are so different than everybody else's.
Right. And it's how you take it, interpret it. I could have been defensive. Like, no, you idiot. I've never changed my icing recipe. You must had COVID and now your taste buds change. But that's not going, then she'll have to be defensive. So what I can do is be like, I see where you're coming from. It is twice as sweet because there's twice as much icing. Next, I said, brace yourself because Christmas, I'm giving you some sugar cookies, but I'll make sure that they don't have double layer of icing on there.
Now, what Corrie's able to do there, and I think a lot of people are like, well, the twins just roll over and show their soft underbellies and just say the client's always right. No. What Corrie did there is like, hey, you're right in your experience. You're wrong in regards to the issue that you think it is. However, here's the solution. So Corrie's able to honor herself, honor the other person. Granted, Corrie doesn't come out with 100% victory. Finish him. Corrie's able to say like, hey, I'm right, you're right. There's a reason why we're both right and in opposition of each other, but here's the solution and let's find a compromise.
And she's also going to leave with a good taste in her mouth. Too sweet. Of my business. Of my business name. If I was like, no, I can't believe it. I've never changed my recipe. It was everyone this past weekend said it was amazing. What did you do? But what she's going to do is she feel like she helped.
She's feel like she's heard. A lot of it.
Absolutely.
A lot of I'm upset is I have not been heard. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And so that's why I like when the client's like, well, the client, my client said they didn't like the order. Say, oh, I'm sorry. Can you tell me more about why you didn't like it? Oh, thank you so much for bringing that. And all the client really wanted. And so, the baker wants to go above and beyond. Can I give you a partial or full refund? How can I make this right for you? And the customer's like, oh, I don't want a refund. I just wanted you to know. Yeah. I just want to, I'd hope somebody let me know. I'm just letting you know. And it's like, oh, wild, thank you so much.
But thank you so much. But it doesn't have to be one a day ruiner. You don't have to go and upend your entire business because someone out of random didn't like your cookies that were too sweet. But what you need to do is just understand them. If they place an order, just note it in your little CRM software. They don't like double layers. And then accommodate that way. Don't have to be like, guys, someone said on your business page, don't run and say, guys, someone said my cookies were too sweet. Is that true? It's not.
Yeah, can we all grab our pitchforks and drop it at their door? A lot of that is just validation that I talk about that all the time. I went to couples therapy and I'm like, how can this lady possibly play referee between the two of us? Because what we're going to tell her is just opposites.
Oh yeah. It's like the same story, but different books.
Yeah. And I was like, he was like, the sky is purple. And I was like, no, it's blue, you idiot. And she was like, yeah, she's like, what's happening here is you guys are witnessing a car accident. Probably was our life. She's like, you guys are witnessing a car accident. I witnessed it too. Corrie was in the passenger seat. Corrie was in the trunk.
I was getting whiplash.
She's like, you guys are essentially witnessing a car accident. And when the police come and get your statements, they're completely opposite. Because one of you saying the red car is at fault and the other one saying the blue car is at fault. But she's like, what happens is you're just standing on different street corners of your own experiences. Your own past experiences create these lenses in which you interpret information. And she's like, well, we need to get you guys into the median and find a compromise that, yes, the red car was partially at fault and the blue car was partially at fault, but neither one was 100% at fault and neither of them is zero. There's no winners or losers. There's some kind of winning and there's some kind of losing, and it's both people.
That's what my husband, he's a police officer. Every time he pulls up on scene of a car accident, the two stories are wildly different. They pulled out, I couldn't see him.
But here's the thing, is they have to be, because the one person said, I wouldn't have pulled out had that person not done that. And the other person said, well, I wouldn't have done that if they hadn't pulled out.
Absolutely. So Nate says they're wildly different. The other person's always wrong. So it's up to me to look at the situation from both perspectives and to take it just as this. Not like, well, I just came from a crash and this red car was at fault, so your red car must be at fault. It's to take each situation as its own.
Yeah. I got in a 5-car pileup once. I ruined people's Saturdays.
You ruined mine with a phone call.
So years later, my insurance was through the roof. I wasn't the car at fault, but in this pileup, I was the sandwich bun. I was the bottom bun. The top bun fled the scene. the car that caused the pile-up had fled the scene. They assumed that he was probably driving without a license.
For sure.
So he had to get out of there. They're like, whatever the car looks like is ridiculous, but he's not here anymore.
I want to tell you before you think Heather's a bad driver, which she's a little crazy. This was on a highway, and a car was stopped in a lane.
The car went from, they think, 80 miles an hour to 0. Of course, the cars behind him also went to 0. And I was a sandwich one. So it was 5 total cars, 1 fled the scene, so left 4 cars. Of course, my insurance goes through the roof, but I'm like, I wasn't the at-fault car. But so I pull up my report later, like pull my policy up, and they had attributed 70% of the accident to me, because I didn't maintain a following distance, and there was the causing car, the offending car had fled the scene. So we still have 100% liability, right? Yeah. The car that would have been more liable had left. So now 100% has to be applied to 4 remaining cars. So nobody was 100% at fault. Had even the fleeing car stayed, he wouldn't have been 100% at fault, because it still left 4 cars not maintaining.
What Heather can't do is uncrash.
I cannot uncrash. And Nationwide, let me know.
So you're going to see with customers that, they're not wrong, but they're not right.
Yes.
You're not wrong, but you're not right.
But don't be the car fleeing the scene.
Don't be like, you're blocked. I'm blocking you. I can't deal with this. I'm overwhelmed. It can be overwhelming. Just create space from it. Just give yourself a few hours a day.
Because likely you ask yourself this. If I was in the client's shoes, where would I think I messed up?
Yeah. It's very, very hard to do that. It is so hard to think where... you think, I communicated, I said this, I did that. This was the best set I could have ever done, and here they're not happy.
Yes.
They're wrong. I've done everything I could do. But there's somewhere in your communication, in something you didn't say or you did say, that you can look at and be like, you know what, I did leave maybe 20% where it was up for grabs.
I'm 20% culpable. So is that a 20% refund? Is that a 20% acknowledging, a 20% discount on a future order? If you acknowledge that nobody's ever 100% at fault and nobody's ever 0% at fault when there's a misunderstanding, a good future business you will make, because you're able to see it on both sides.
Yeah. Which is not easy to do. Especially when your feelings are involved. It's so hard to do.
We launched the Cookie College 2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, 2 days ago was the anniversary. And in that time, I've maybe had 3 chargebacks. So people calling their
I know,
they
get to you, man.
Yeah, they get to me. I get really emotional because with a digital product, what happens is somebody forgot to cancel their membership. The policy is you have to cancel because of a digital product. It's an instant download. Yeah. And then they say, well, it's fraudulent. Okay, it wasn't fraudulent. You forgot to do something. So then Stripe, it's one thing to just let them, I just say, I don't care. But Stripe is like, listen, you have to show an effort that because you can only get so many bad strikes against you before Stripe shuts down the account. So I'm like, it was like, we'll coach you on how to do this. So I'm like, okay, step 1. Email them with a offer of a full refund. And I was like, yeah. And then also screenshot that you did that and let us see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the point? So I do it. But you see what Stripe is saying is like, hey, do your best to mitigate this as much as possible. Our goal is not necessarily to get the money back. It's to get that ding off the account.
Yeah. And Heather always feels wronged. Always feels wrong.
I'm like, why you done? Your bank did fraud. It's not fraud. You didn't right cancel.
But here's the thing. Stripe is like, at the end of the day, you having a closed account is worse than you refunding
so it
this
said,
one
hey, give
person.
them their money back. Give them all their money back. Give it to them. And it's like, it actually asks me to do it 2 times. Because they'll say, hey, have you tried to reach out to this client to resolve this twice? Yeah. And I'll be like, yeah, here's me offering them the full refund. Even not even including fees. And, it happens so rarely, but it just goes to show that even these major companies are like, hey, you may not be 100% at fault, but how can we make this right? And that's how Stripe is coaching us. But when we come to these small bakery businesses and they come into the group and everyone's like, run, block them. Like, I'm sorry. That is creating a future problem. Your next post in this group are like, hey, I got a bad review. It's one thing to get a bad review on a review profile. It's even worse to get dragged in community groups.
I want to say I'd much rather get a review that I can bury with other reviews than have it be broadcasted to a super active community group and it go viral within that group.
And it does because, Corrie and I are saying, like, we are constantly deleting dramatic threads in community groups. That's what we're doing. And in the cookie groups and stuff like that. But I said, quite the astounding part to me is that when it's in another group, I'm grabbing my popcorn. I'm reading subset, thread. I'm seeing how many likes the comments have to kind of decide which side I'm on.
You have to think a little bit. Me and Heather, I mean, at the end of the day, we're marketers, and virality does get people more engaged in your group. So as a marketing standpoint, we're like, well, we do like the dramatic post but as people with a conscience who don't want, we delete those posts immediately because it shouldn't be taken to a public, it should never have gotten to the point where it was taken to a public venue.
Yeah. So Corrie and I, in Corrie's community group, I'll be like, hey, this is best if you reach out to the company directly, or I'll lock the threads because I don't want like a witch hunt of sorts. Right.
But other groups
they're like,
where you don't have the admin and they love a viral post, or they're an absentee admin and they're not monitoring it. I would be shaking
in my baking boots, my baking Crocs, if I knew that this client could drag me in a community group that is unmanaged.
I know. And when you don't own the post, you can't delete any of the comments. And
I was telling Corrie, there's this, we have in this Northern Virginia area is like 3 counties, and one of the other counties, I'm in there. Absolutely. I used to live there. I feel like I can join it. Don't live there anymore. But it was a guy. All he writes is, this cleaning company is a scam. They billed me and never showed up to my house. And the way he wrote it was poorly written. Yeah. So the whole group's like, well, I like this cleaning company. And then the cleaning company's like, wow, like the owner of the cleaning company. She comes in, she's like, wow, really embarrassing that you wouldn't reach out to me directly. But the wild part is he had. Yeah. And the more embarrassing part is she actually goes through and sees that the issue is on her end. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's so embarrassing that she, lambasted the guy. The way he posted was terrible. He didn't do it the right way. But she was at fault, and that embarrassing backtracking when you could have just been, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me dig into this and I'll get back to you.
I'm a group lurker. Yeah. If I saw a business say, wow, I can't believe you do this, and really go toe to toe with a customer who at the end was
have
right.
Your ducks in a row, buddy.
Listen, as a lurker, I wouldn't hire that company. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times you don't see what you lose. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, I'm fine. No, I don't lose any business.
At all. Have they grown at all? You haven't lost it.
Yeah.
If that's what, Corrie and I say is, we had this one client, he was super contentious. He would argue all the time in community groups. Every time he got a bad review, he would leave an even worse feedback. And we were like, he doesn't think that that's affecting his bottom line, but it is, because he's not seeing that bottom line increase. And it's for these covert hidden reasons that he's like, well, I'm standing up for myself. At what cost? At what cost are you disacknowledging, if that's even a word, somebody's experience, because your experience differs? Yeah. And in that, you're a terrible business owner. And you'll never guess who's not in business anymore. That guy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane. It's crazy.
The cookie crime scene. Don't look back, look forward. Don't punish yourself for making mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. Corrie and I have made mistakes. Look forward and say, how can I mitigate this mistake? How can I use this mistake to learn from? How can I use this mistake, whether it's on my end or the client's end, to find a common ground? Pull an insurance company and say, culpability is never 100%. I know maybe I'm 20%, maybe I'm 80%. How can I still acknowledge and make up for this 20%? And then say, instead of saying, oh, the cup is broken, I'm going to sulk about it. Say, the cup is broken. I'm going to roll my eyes by myself. I'm going to give myself 24 hours, and then I'm going to start new cup shopping. And that's going to be my business model.
Back when I sold cars, they had something that was called the e-office, and that means you took leads. It was, I don't know why it wasn't iOffice for internet office, but it was e-office, like email, e-office. Yeah. So you had to sit in there. You would work at you had 1 day a week. You had to sit in there for 8 hours, and every online lead called in, you were the person to take that online lead. Attached to every computer was a mirror. And on that mirror said, you're not smiling enough. Help the customer, get them in the door. If you need to, if you've never had a bad experience with a customer, it behooves you. If you have a computer, why not just take a little sticky note and be like, create space, reply in 24 hours.
Roll your eyes now, not later. Don't roll your eyes while writing the email.
Yeah, and the reason why they had a mirror is because, when you're talking and you're not smiling, it comes across very evident to the person on the other side.
Oh, but I can hear when there's a furrowed brow when talking to somebody. You can't see. But they said smiling, while even if it's not an intentional or authentic smile, does change how you reply to people.
Yeah.
It's so funny they did that. I actually think that's a good idea.
Stare at yourself.
I would hate to look at myself.
I know.
I would hate it.
But it was like a warped one, so you look like your face looked like
be one that applies a filter. Yeah. So that is the takeaway today. You can't go back, only look forward. If you want to be hurt, ask yourself, do I want to be hurt or do I want to be helped? And then ask yourself, if I could stand on the client's side, what would I see here? Really, really go out of your way to say, what's their perspective here? Assuming nobody's wrong, we're just on different street corners. And nobody's 100% wrong and nobody's 100% right. Feelings are valid. Take all that stuff. And that's why you get those weird, cushy replies from me and Corrie, where it's like, hey, here's what I'd say to the client. Thank you so much for the feedback. I'll take it back to the kitchen with me. But you want to be like, I'm going to never take this back to the kitchen with me. And I didn't want your feedback.
Here's what's crazy is on the other end, we've all been wronged by a business that isn't ours. And we get offended when, one, we're not responding to, someone's defensive, and you're like, oh, I can't believe you treat your customers this way. And then turn around and treat our customers that way.
And that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
The dichotomy there is just mind-boggling.
But
and
you think,
guilty of it too.
You're like, they're 100% wrong when it's me with another another company.
Yeah.
But then your customer's 100% wrong when it's your company against the customer. You can't be winning everything. We're not winning everything. It's not the Olympics here.
And it's not about winning, because I think it's about a 50% win and loss. And once you realize that life, no person you date or marry is going to be 100% exactly what you want. It's how far am I willing to compromise that we both can happily coexist. You do that with your partner. Now do it with your client.
Yeah.
And do it with the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group so we don't have to lock your thread.
There you go. There you go.
The most interesting threads, and then we'll move on, is like, don't bash the client. Proceeds to fully bash the client. I don't want the comments locked. Okay. When you spin your content, when you spin your post, you create the comment section. Yeah. I had somebody post this really, really awesome thread about rush fees. Whether you want to call them rush fees, whether you want to call them fast track fees, don't call them miracle fees. People won't understand what it is. But in a way, someone called them miracle fees because they can create a miracle and get this order for you. And Corrie and I are a huge fan of rush fees, because when I was ordering all that stuff for that event last week, I was ordering it pretty late. And Vistaprint was like, well, we can get it to you right before the day before your event, or you can place a rush fee. And I said, oh, thank goodness. You have rush fee. Please get this to me a week out. And someone in the comments, and yes, I banned them with prejudice immediately. I was like, that is so rude, you charged a rush fee. I'm sorry, no. That comment, even if you believe it, was not meant to be in this group. Because they're allowed to charge a rush fee, and you don't have to. And neither of you are wrong for that. However, if you don't charge rush fees, you're wrong.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, okay, text.
We have them?
We have 3.
You can read 2.
Okay, here's one.
Okay.
Heather, question mark. That's all it is.
Heather question
space
mark?
Question mark.
Oh, space.
And to that I say, yes, my darling.
We are listening.
That is all I want. We have another one. It says, hi, twins. I really like the Heather text, frankly.
Yeah. Oh, give her the hard
She's probably
question.
like, Heather.
Yeah.
Hi, twins. I recently purchased an Eddie, and your last podcast on the Wedding Expo got me thinking. My sister's friend is getting married. Given she agrees to this idea, and I'm so sorry. My sister is getting married in October. Would you recommend bringing Eddie to her wedding, given that she agrees to the idea, and printing cookies for her guests for free to generate some content to promote that kind of service? I have no idea where to begin with pricing for that kind of service, but I'm ready to start thinking outside of the box for all the ways I can earn money with Eddie. Thank you all for your helpful tips.
1,000%, yes.
Corrie and I did that entire event for free.
Yeah.
And wow, if we haven't gotten 2 people already reaching out saying, like, how much is that Eddie printing thing? Whether or not they wanted to pay.
Yeah.
We never got that
And
far.
odds are, you probably, your sister who's getting married, you probably know a lot of the guests. You can ask them to stand for photos, and it's not so weird.
Because she knows the sister, obviously, she has a little bit of elbow room with set up and I'm just trying this out and kind of learning.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to last week's podcast on that Wedding Vendor Expo, we did a dry run. Do a dry run before you do this. It's a little harder than we thought it would be, because it does kind of take 2 people, but 100% I would offer to do that for free.
Yeah.
1, call it your wedding gift.
Yes.
2, it is an icebreaker. That was the funny thing at the end of that vendor expo. All the other vendors around us said, whoa, that shtick worked. There was always somebody getting their photo taken and screaming about their little face on there. And I think your sister will appreciate it, but it will get your name out. Now, does that target audience, is that as dialed in as a wedding expo? No, because these are just people attending a wedding. But the odds that they know somebody, and you can include that.
But getting content out of that.
Content is the best part of that. So I wouldn't sell to the people attending the wedding. I would be that thing. I would generate that content.
If your family's there, give them your phone to create content, like to video you and everything like that. Like they can go around, take videos, so you can create a reel from it. You can create videos and really use it to market.
I agree. And Corrie and I were able to generate. I told her while that wedding expo was a flop, We got a lot of content to be able to use that if we wanted to sell it. So my big takeaway from that wedding expo was that people love that kind of concept. Last one, you guys should make another Vendy Blendy for your local community group and allow small businesses from all over the U.S. I would love to do that. You both are so organized, and I know you would market it well. Corrie actually talked about, like, could the Vendy Blendy concept be adapted to local community groups? It would be difficult in that some people are service providers and some people are product suppliers. So the thing about the Vendy Blendy is we didn't really want conceptual products. We wanted physical or digital products that you could purchase and get 20%. So if you ever tried that, I think it would be genius. You have to grow your group to the point that people are willing to put a 20% discount or 25% discount. But talk about being the middleman of that would be just a real strong place for you to be.
I do want to say a caveat.
Okay.
With a local community group and you being the local baker, if someone, me and Heather have had run into issues with the Vendy Blendy specifically where a Vendy Blendy signs up and they don't hold up their end of the bargain with customers. So then we don't invite them back. Here's the problem. In a local community group, someone's going to lambast you. Like, I was banned and they won't let me participate. They hate me. And it's going to be one side of the story that's not true. And then you, a little bit, can risk potential business from that. Like, Heather has banned people from the local community group, and those people are like, I'm never going to buy cookies from Corrie. Granted, you've never bought them before anyway.
But they love to threaten that they won't anyway.
So that is the one thing I say is a little risky business when you invite local people and you're the local baker to the group. You have to think beyond that, like what happens if something does not go right.
The ex from the car accident counseling story.
Remember him vividly.
I'm going to remove the expletive here and replace it with something, although I do agree with the sentiment, and it was don't poop where you eat.
Yeah.
And so he would always use that in the vein of don't become the best friends with your apartment neighbors, because when they have problems, they become your problems. In a community group, you are seeing these people. You can run into them at the grocery store. Versus the Vendy Blendy, we don't run into anybody anywhere. We never leave our house.
Yeah.
So just consider that if you upset a real estate agent, I think it was a real estate agent going to give you 20% off the house. If you upset somebody, just make sure that you don't actually run into them. We floated it when we actually scrapped it for this year.
Just because.
But it was a thought.
And it's that local risk per se.
But great segue into what the Vendy Blendy is. You want to tell us?
Vendy Blendy. It's a 24-hour sale happening on November 29th. There's a group on Facebook. You have to be a part of that group to get all the deals and steals from it. And the reason why is because we want you to want the steals. We want you to want the deals. And it's only 24 hours. So at the end of the 24 hours, we actually delete everything in the group. What you can expect sales-wise, bakery shirts. People love a bakery shirt. From Domestic, and there's a couple other ones that sell it.
Quite a few bigger.
Cookie cutters.
Tons. That's what Corrie really wanted.
That's what I really, really like. STL files.
Tons.
Baking supplies.
Oh, I really like the baking supplies first.
Packaging supplies.
Love a box.
Love me a box.
Love a cookie card.
Love me a box. Like supplies like if you like Jenna Ray Gold, which is edible, non-toxic, and looks pretty on a cookie, people will have that.
Sweetest tier
Stencil. There's business supplies. There's scribes.
Baking supplies.
So
this event, we're going to start heavily. I can't believe it's September.
I know.
We're going to start ramping up promotion. You'll see that we've already talked about it. I've been doing a post every other week. But this week, or maybe next, depending on if I get my work done today, we're opening up every vendor that signed up is from another Vendy. They've come back.
Yeah.
And we're almost at 50. Crazy. Oh my goodness. Crazy. But we'll be opening this up to new Vendys. Now, if you're a new Vendy, you're going to have the $150 registration fee. I know. It all goes into this giant door prize. So consider that a marketing investment. Because what happens is we take all the Vendy. Other than the fact that we are Vendy ourselves, the Vendy Blendy is a full loss on Corrie and my time and money. Because we do not take this money and keep it. We use it and pour it into really fantastic nonprofits.
Yes.
Last year we did 2 carbon X1C bamboo printers plus an Eddie. And that was donated by
that was a lot.
Premier. That was such a blast. So this year, those fees, my reason why the original registration fee was only $50 is because we've upped the 25% discount, and that was a big change to the last vendors.
We've upped it to 25% off.
So sorry. Next year we're upping it to 100% off. But now if you're new this year, you know exactly where the cards lie. You know that let me see how many vendors we have. 47 vendors. And I have a verbal confirmation on that, but they're about to. 47 vendors loved it so much last year, they've come back this year. So I'm saying, I do not collect sales numbers from the vendies.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't feel like that's my place to ask.
I wish.
But the best indicator that people were successful last year is that they're back this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what it's in it for you, the listener, is you can join the Vendy Blendy group. We'll all pen till November 29th. As soon as you get in there, which is 12:01 on November 29th a.m., you can snag the discount code. It'll be pinned to the top, and it'll be the discount codes to every shop, plus the links to their shops.
People say their biggest complaint about the Vendy Blendy day is that it's overwhelming, and it's designed to be. It's designed to be high energy. Oh my goodness, so much going on. I can't even keep up. That said, I'll have a Facebook Live pinned at the top that'll tell you how this all works. It is a vibe. But if you're like, hey, listen, I just want me 25% off all these shops, that sheet will be readily available at 12:01. It'll be pinned the entire day. However, if you want a chance to win these big door prizes, a lot of the vendors are doing their own door prizes. I think we're already past 7,000 in door prize dollar amounts. It is so fun. And then we have In Search of threads where you can say, hey, I was looking for this. Does anybody know if one of these shops has it? And then we have the vendors making posts and demonstrations throughout the day. It's truly a vendor market to behold.
It's so much fun.
My vendies are my superstars.
Yeah.
And so like I tell Corey, the vendies are mine, the pendies are yours, and we both fight to the death to make this a
Who
fun
gets
event.
the best of the best. So it's fun. It is a blast. Join now. We're already in September, so October, November. We're 3 months away from the Vendy Blendy because it's at the end of November.
I actually have a countdown on my phone.
Nice. So if you actually join, you can pen right now, forget it.
2 months, 3 weeks, 5 days.
Nice. We will let you know that it's coming up. Believe me, you're going to be bombarded by the time November 28th comes around.
Everyone's like, well, what's the catch? For you pendies, nothing.
Nothing.
Just the catch is your credit card limit.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
absolutely.
You and your bank.
If you don't want to buy anything because you're budget conscious, and I wish I was you, you can join the group and just enter for the free door prizes.
And there's so many.
And there's no purchase necessary to win. They can ask you to follow them on Instagram. They can ask you to share something to your stories, but they cannot require you to buy anything to win.
They cannot. And then they'll announce winners at 10, but at midnight that same night, Eastern Standard Time, it all disappears.
It disappears.
The shutting down of the group is such a vibe. It's the saddest day ever. It's like you're on this euphoric high, and then you're just like, oh, it's going away. And then everyone's like, they're all saying these like final closing statements like, goodbye, my fellow pennies. Maybe we gather here today. Thank you.
Then we say on November 30th, it turns into the group that shall not be named. You can't talk about the Vendy Blendy. The Vendy Blendy doesn't exist.
It becomes a keyword, and we tell the admin mod team, if you see a word that starts with V, just delete the post.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. Tons of vendors. We still have more signing up. And 25% off. It cannot wait.
25% off is such a high amount.
It is.
I mean, 25% off. When I see a shop that I like, rent 25%
when I see 25% off, I will be buying.
Yeah. And the caveat is it's their whole stores. There's a little out for wholesale agreements that they have because that we can't touch.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's got to be the entire store.
You can really stock up on cookie cutters. I would start researching now what are popular themes, especially if you're new and you don't have a huge cutter collection.
Go to thevendies.com. It'll pull up the list of the current vendies. And you could pre-shop that. Granted, we're 3 months out, so maybe those products won't always be available, but it'll help you kind of understand where you want to be. Closer to that event, when we're talking like 2 weeks out, I would start building out carts.
Yeah.
And that way,
links to exactly what you want, so you can click on your link, add to cart. The thing that the vendors are not required to do is they do not have to give rain checks, do not have to keep anything in stock. So once it's gone, it's gone. We
actually encourage the vendors to discontinue the discount code after the 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that means that not only is the products potentially gone, the sale is as well. It is so fun. Corey and I are ready.
Bring it over. It's cool out weather. And Vendy
Blendy can smell it. Okay, moving on to sponsors. I'm actually happy to announce Core Backers is back, but they're back as a new brand. They rebranded during their brief break. There's a lot of bees in here. And they're back as the Backers Co.
The Backers Co.
So AE Core Backers has rebranded as the Backers Co., which I really like the name. It's very simple. They're differentiating. They offer a bunch of products outside of baking, and they're differentiating that. Now, they're still offering the code for 20% off, which is sugar cookies.
But what was I going to say?
I don't know. You had a lot there, though. I liked it.
I did. But If you want to know that anything I take a photo on, most likely is on an A Core Backers. The reason why I like to take photos on them is because, one, they are food safe. So you can feel confident when you take photos of customers' cookies on them that they're not transferring anything from your past bakes onto the cookies. They're easy to wipe down. I absolutely love it. They have so many different themes and colors. She actually just sent me, and I have it pending because I have to make a video on it, the latest drop that she just did.
Is it black Superman?
No, I want to say it's like
There's
deep
a wooden one.
colors. This is a solid color batch that I know. But they do have wooden ones. They have marble backdrops if you're looking to like really elevate. I love white super matte. I can dress it up, dress it down. It really makes things pop. It's my really go-to.
Do you have these wood grain ones? They're beautiful. There's a category on the website called wood grain.
I think I have a lot of them.
White elm, gray Pickford, creamy maplewood, gray butternut. For the cookie class kits, you gave me a skeleton photo, and it's on a wooden
purple one.
Yeah,
it's on a purple.
Oh no! You had the stage one. It's on a wooden backdrop now.
No, are you blind? There's an orange one and there's a purple one that I used.
No, for the skeleton class?
Yeah, not one wooden one did I
staring
grab.
at these. I'm sorry, he's on a wooden
okay. But it was definitely a purple backdrop, which is one you can get, and then I used orange to make it pop. I thought they were very Halloweenish colors.
These are fun. So anyways, thebackersco.com, but acorebackers.com does forward to that. Very nice internet practice there.
Very good marketing.
I'm happy to have them back. Use code SUGARCOOKIES at checkout to save 20% off. But they will also be a Vendy in the Vendy Blendy. They tend to sell out.
They do.
So that's what a lot of people will wake up at midnight, grab those backers, go back to bed, and then kind of reassess.
This week, I'll make an effort to show you the new ones that they just launched that I got. Okay. And I'll do it on the Sugar Cookie Marketing Instagram and the Facebook page.
At Sugar Cookie Marketing _ on Instagram and just Sugar Cookie Marketing on Facebook. And that's a page.
Yes.
Nice. I've been working to grow that page. Welcome back.
Welcome back. The Backers Co.
Welcome back.
Welcome Backers Co.
So you can find them at thebackersco.com. We have Eddie, the edible food printer. Now that was our text in question. I forgot to mention the phone number, 571-556-5644. If you want to just text me my name with a question mark, by all means.
If you want to do mine with an exclamation point, by all means.
If you want to do mine with some heart emojis, feel free.
If you wonder, last week's podcast was all about Eddie and how we used him in a vendor event. Do you have to use Eddie in a vendor event? Sure.
Is it
true?
It is. It is not mine. It wasn't spread by anybody but the original source.
Okay.
And I don't know what this means.
All right.
But somebody caught it. I think his name was Ed Wolf in the Primera Eddie Printers Users Group on Facebook.
Okay.
And he was like, I was on the CookieCon website looking at the sponsors, and Eddie is a sponsor. There'll actually be a Vendy there.
Yeah.
A Vendy there. A vendor. Excuse me. Some Vendy verbiage. But they also have the logo for Freddy, the frosting machine.
We have not witnessed it. I cannot wait to see it.
Let me see.
I wonder how it works.
So
supposedly,
they said that they're taking it from, again, rumor mill. They said that they are taking it for the dry run here at CookieCon.
Yeah.
We're not going to make it, but there is a happy hour we'll talk about in a second. If you go there and you see something that is Freddy related, you have my full please post about it. I cannot find it on the website.
Would love to know. But it's apparently it will frost a cookie for you. We know nothing beyond that. We don't know if it's a circle, if random
it's
stuff.
on cookiecon.net/sponsors.php. It's Eddie the edible ink printer and Freddy, and he's wearing a tie. The logo's wearing a tie.
That's hilarious.
And it's Freddy, the frosting machine from Primera.
I cannot wait to see it in action. I've never witnessed it.
Oh my goodness.
Cannot wait. We'll be getting one for myself.
It's not on their website, though.
I know. So, just so you know, maybe this could be the big unveiling. Heather just ruined it for everybody.
I need boots on the ground, kids. I need boots on the ground in the
VLIs. But if you're wondering, Eddie is a direct-to-food printer. It prints just like a printer, but with edible food coloring. It's the coolest thing since sliced bread. I still get wowed when I turn him on. He turns me back on. Love him. If you wanted to, a lot of people include him with their piping sets, and they ditch their airbrush machine and they just use Eddie exclusively for all the cool backers, everything like that.
See if I'm too aggressive in making this statement. If you did, let's say you got hired to do 2 weddings, that kind of dry run we did where we use it as the icebreaker. Mm-hmm. Do you think 2 weddings, would it be $1,500? Could you charge that for a wedding to be there during the reception? Let's say or the cocktail hour.
I would believe it would depend on the number of people coming to the wedding.
Fair, because you have product, you have hours, but you also have the wedding surcharge. And I know people love to get in arguments. You will not see me undercharging for weddings. Yeah. Everyone's conditioned that they're paying for that customer experience.
I want to say, and this is just from research from TikTok, I'm not getting married again. It would be my third wedding if I did. People are paying upwards of $2,000 to $4,000. Just get them out of the way. Learning from me. $2,000 to $4,000 to have someone painting
Those are really neat.
Absolutely. But no, people are coming around. They're like, that's so cool. But only the bride and groom are getting the photo at the end of the day. I would say there is room to charge a lot when everyone's getting something like a wedding favor to take with them.
So say you do $750 for 3 weddings, then Eddie pays for himself. I'm just saying that Eddie has a capability to cover his costs very quickly because of the mass production component and the customization component of it. Now, with customization and mass production, we're talking commercial pockets, which are always deeper than other pockets. Wedding pockets are deeper than teacher's gift pockets. And so you can enter that space and cover Eddie's cost. Again, I'm not one. I know that they have I think they have a payment plan now. So you could pay monthly. You pay for paying monthly. If you wanted to get in there ahead of the holiday season, or I like to use YNAB. You need a budget app. We had them do a live in our group a couple of years ago to plan to purchase an Eddie and then set aside parts of each of your income, your cookie orders towards that. And
if you're more of an introverted person, not such a out and about saying hi to people, you can definitely use Eddie for corporate orders. I love working with corporate clients because you have one point of contact and a big paycheck at the end
clients
of it.
are like, I don't want to hear from you. I just want it done. Yeah. And that's Corrie got in with Neiman Marcus, which I don't know how they found you.
I have no idea how I did.
They found you at the bottom of a great
I know they really did. I was like,
and they were like, yeah, can we just get this? And Corey's like, yeah, it's so funny. They don't talk to me at all. They pay net 30. They just want it in there. They just want a lot of them quickly. And they want to make last minute changes.
And they love Eddie printed cookies.
That is all they want. Corey's tried to pipe in. They're like, get away. Get that piping away from me. I just want that printed.
All right. Don't tell me twice.
Yeah. So if you think Eddie is cheating, it's cheating because you're cutting the line in profits.
Last but not least, we have a royal icing meringue powder. Yeah. If you've not made royal icing before, meringue powder is the ingredient that gives it that crusting, allows it to be shipped, that you can handle it. Unlike buttercream, which is kind of squishy. Delicious, though.
I love buttercream. I wish you would do another run of buttercream.
I know. If you're a royal icing baker, you know that meringue powder is important. The reason why I love Royal Batch is because it doesn't separate as fast, which is great for DIY kits. And we're coming into DIY kit season and class season.
Fun DIY kits.
We're
talking about it on a morning Tuesday one.
Absolutely. So DIY kits are do-it-yourself kits, and they do include icing. And we batch make them before because it's so hard to make everything the day before pickup.
I don't like that. I need some space to solve problems.
So what I like about Royal Batch is the icing doesn't separate as fast as other meringue powders. It already has 3 awesome ingredients in it, which is white food coloring, so you don't have to add that to it. It has corn syrups to give it a softer bite, and vanilla food extract. If you want to add almond extract, you absolutely can, but it already tastes great just coming right out of the bag.
Code Twins.
Code Twins saves you 10%. We're working on getting her in a Vendy Blendy. She's going to be at CookieCon, so if you would like to bombard her with Vendy Blendy talk, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Whisper Sweet, Vendy Blendy, nothing's interior.
So, I'd really buy a bag if it was part of the Vendy Blendy.
Maybe that 5-pounder has my name on it.
Yeah.
We also have a happy hour. I can't believe CookieCon is this month. The happy hour is Tuesday, September 17th. It's 5 p.m. Central time because it will be at Round Rock, Kalahari in Texas. Heather Campbell, Brookshire, and I call her Kim M. Sims because it rhymes, are hosting that for us. Corey and I won't be able to make it. However, our wallets will, and we'll be covering the cost of the food. But Heather and Kim are vibes. Heather Campbell, Brookshire is actually the sponsor of the happy hour. You never see a sponsor also working. She paid us to work.
Yeah, she's very, very nice.
But they're even printing off custom fun stuff. I just, they sent me that. I paid for that. But nice. They were designing it and very.
Yeah.
And also Kim opened a brick and mortar in the middle of all this.
I know.
She opened it
Beans
a
and
couple
Brews.
weeks ago. Yeah.
There's a Brews and Beans. It's Beans and Brews.
Either way, I would say find Kim if she's not crying on the floor after having opened a brick and mortar. Ask her
some
about
questions. If you're looking to schedule a Disney vacation, the great thing... Huh?
We go on a cruise.
Oh, I've never been on a cruise before.
Yeah, we went to Alaska.
That was not very good. If you're looking to schedule a Disney vacation, you can use the Heather Campbell Brookshire as your Disney destination planner.
Universal destination planner and Disney cruise destination planner.
The great thing about it, you don't pay them. Heather Campbell Brookshire knows her work. She's not working for free, but Disney actually pays her. But she uses her expertise, her knowledge. I want to say the first year that me and Heather went to Disney, I didn't think the armbands were necessary.
They're necessary.
So I said, no, I don't want that. Turns out you want it.
These Disney trip planners are more than just making reservations. They know where, when, what, how often, and why.
And they know Heather Campbell Brookshire goes all the time. She knows what places are busy, what places are not busy, where to go this, where to go to that, if you're looking for someone who knows the inside.
For free. I can't believe it. That's a really genius way to do it.
Fantastic. I did not know that was a thing before we went to the Disney.
Because I'm like, I don't want to pay.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
I heard rumors. I don't think it was rumor. I think it was from whoever Disney CEO is right now.
Sure.
Didn't they bring that Bob Iger back?
No idea.
That they're creating a villain world.
I did hear that.
But I heard that both Universal and Disney are doing it.
Disney, I feel like can. I think Universal needs to work on some stuff.
I thought Harry Potter World was pretty fun.
That was the only fun part of it.
Corrie got sick on Harry Potter World and now has a bone to pick with Universal.
That was like
Universal's Roller Coaster Central. Disney is immersive experience.
Universal Harry Potter World took me and shook me like I was a salt and pepper shaker. That was everything crazy. They were like, I was like, is this
Corrie called it? And then so she sent this in a group Snapchat. She called it Harry Potty World. She ran to the bathroom right after. It's hilarious. It is, both are fun, and you can get her to plan either of them. Moving on to the Cookie College, gotta ping our own product here. We will be a Vendy Blendy. It was a blast last year. I think last year was maybe is it the first time we did it? I'm not sure. I think this is the first time we really leaned into it ourselves, and it was such a vibe. But we're working on our Halloween Christmas class. It will hopefully drop today. I'll be my little fingers.
It's very, very cute. Build your own skeleton.
It is Build Your Own Skeleton. In January, we had a Build Your Own Snowman, so this is a nice compliment to that. If you sign up for the Cookie Class Kit today, you pay $63, but you can not only get that skeleton class, you'll get every class we've dropped this year, and that's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August.
Insane. And I will say, February's class of this year was football. And guess what season we're going into?
Nice.
Football
a lot of
season.
people are regurgitating.
Regurgitating.
I think I had even
That's a word. That's a word to use.
People are going to refund and regurgitating. But if you sign up for the Cookie College, that is popcorn price to get the most bang for your buck. Not only do you get the January through October class of this year, you get January through December class of last year.
Nice.
You also get some extra classes. You get the private Facebook group. You get a ton of freebie photos. You get a ton of classes. You get also the digital downloads, the Baker's Business Basics, the $2 transfer club, and the Cookie Class Kits.
If you want to check out the memberships, go to thecookie-college.com. If you're like, I just want the Cookie Class Kits, you can go to cookie-college.com or the cookieclasskits.com.
Is that? Yeah.
Cookie Class Kits.
But all that information is there. Corrie and I pour our heart, soul, and bones into these. People have been around. We launched again August 31st, 2021.
Yeah.
There are people that's what my biggest indicator of something is a good product was when people stick around. We have had people in for 3 years. Yeah. I'm always surprised. Like, we've been here for 3 years. We've been fighting this battle together. And I find that a lot of people typically sign up. I even have people are like, I only meant to sign up for 1 month. I stayed for a year.
I know.
And there's a lot of content there. And we want to make it hard to cancel by making it so valuable for your business.
What you're going to learn in the Cookie College is we hold your hand through your marketing. So if you're like, I really want this to be just a shebang of a holiday season for me, join us. Join us for the next few months. Join us for a month.
If you join this week, I actually teach a Facebook Live the second Monday of each month. And yeah,
is that today?
No, second Monday.
So next week?
Next Monday. And it's just get the most out of your membership. We call it Squeezing the Berry.
Squeezing the Berry. It's an hour long. I actually bake for this live so I can
hate
listen
that Corrie always
while I'm bickling.
Like, I'll be like, that's because
I'm always there. Maybe 2 minutes after the fact, but I'm there.
In the Cookie College this month. Last month we did a walking challenge. I was
did.
really impressed. And the point was not to beat yourself, just to consistently walk every day. And a lot of people put in great numbers. This month, the September D3 Clutter Challenge, and you have to each day find one thing you want to pitch, one thing you want to sell, and one thing you want to donate. So by the end of the month, you'll have 3 piles of 30 items each.
Yeah.
We're letting people, if they're in the sell pile, if it's any baking related goods, we're having a virtual yard sale on the last day of the month.
Nice.
Yeah, clean out them cupboards.
What's great about this is if you can remove clutter from your life, you can. It's sometimes you can get so overwhelmed because of the amount of things surrounding you.
Visual noise.
So we want to declutter before the big holiday season so you have more space.
You have more room for products that do sell well. Yeah. Sometimes like Corey will be like, well, that didn't sell as well, but I have 5 boxes left over.
5 boxes.
It's not enough to launch a product. It's also not too few to throw it away. Like it puts you in this weird, like I can't throw that away. That's money.
But here's the thing: unless you go and buy more of something that doesn't sell well, you're going to be sitting with these 5 boxes for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. And what we find, and why I like the idea of the virtual yard sale on the last day, is somebody did sell that product well. Those Target crates. They either sold really well for people or terribly. Yeah. And the same with advent calendars. So somebody out there is like, well, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, I really have been on the fence about the cookie college, but I do have a lot of crap I want to get rid of. Now would be the time, jump into the declutter challenge. And then on the last day of September, the 30th, we will have a little
noise
wide sale.
Noise. Do you have a Twinterest? 28 rest. Do you? Do you? I haven't had one in so many months, so many weeks. I feel like I have not had an idea.
You want to talk about that Wegmans cake you like?
Oh, Wegmans. Listen, I'm not against supporting Wegmans. I'm a home baker.
Wegmans is like charging arm and leg.
Support bakers.
Please place arm here and check out things.
Wegmans has this strawberry shortcake. It's going to be in a chokehold.
It is. Okay, so my family's really big into Wegmans birthday cakes, marble specifically. I don't know why. It's very fresh.
Sometimes the icing can be heavy. And
it's a lot. And there's been a lot of cakes in this last month. So Corey was like, hey, I'll make lasagna on the caveat you go to Wegmans and get that strawberry shortcake. So it has icing in the middle, but it's uniced.
It's a naked cake.
With strawberries all over it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, people were like tripping over themselves. And then Jen, I don't know if you left, she was like, I'm going to be a monster here and I'm bringing it back up. Yeah,
it's so light and airy because the whipped cream is, it's not buttercream, so it's not thick and heavy.
It's
a whipped.
Light.
Well, whipped.
It almost feels healthy. Strawberry made me feel like
I want to say the cake is like a pound cake.
I also want to say that the strawberries are covered in sugar, like a honey sugar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not healthy at all. It's delicious.
It is delicious.
So stinking good. So stinking good. I don't really have a Twinterest, so I was thinking that the whole time we were talking.
I was thinking, let me just think about a Twinterest. What have I purchased recently? Nothing. I've been trying to streamline, actually.
Have you purchased something? You like to be a silent purchaser.
Yeah. I'm always surprised what it shows up. I don't think I got one.
I don't think I have one.
Well, darn it, we're not very interested.
Oh, I did buy this, and I'm gonna test it out in our next cookie class. The Flower Box shop, has these. It's almost like this square with like film in the center, and you can squish a cookie in it. So you could pass this around in a class, and people could see what the end looks like without actually handling the food.
Oh, that's an interesting.
So I'm gonna just test it.
Do us an Eddie printed one,
and
as a demonstration and a piped one, and give us 2 versions of the same cookie.
Yeah, I thought in our Halloween cookie class, I'll decorate the 6 cookies, put them in these little sleeves. So you know how someone's far across the room and they always have to get up to look at the TV.
Oh, and put them in the center.
And they're just in the center. And then if you're like, do you need to see it? Here you go. Versus me taking around the one I just kind of decorated.
Going to add an additional 10 minutes to class, but yes.
I know. I'm just going to test it out.
I'll take pictures of it.
I'm just going to test it out. I just thought, would that add to it, or would it take away from class? Would they enjoy it? Would they not?
Let us be the guinea pigs for the sugar cookie.
Yeah. So I just got that in the mail. So I shall test it in October.
Very nice. Very nice. No, I don't have a Twinterest. Nothing's popping up.
All right. I do want to leave you guys with me and Heather's birthday's coming up on November 22nd.
That is very far away.
You got to start planning.
Thank goodness it's not on the Vending blending. I thought it was this year. I was like, well, I got to spend the whole
exactly
blending.
The farthest
Happy
away
Labor
from
Day
the
to me.
Vending blending.
Yeah, we're the farthest.
Don't worry, we'll celebrate all month long for our birthday.
What are we doing? Corey gets super weird.
You know
on
what I
birth
said?
month.
I used to be like, let me assume that people are going to celebrate my birthday without me telling them. I don't want to do that. Don't do that.
You know, I read a lot of those therapy books. It was like, if you want it, say it. You can't hope people in for it. We're
absolutely
all too
not.
busy.
Because when the day passes and you're like, I'm really disappointed no one celebrated my birthday.
They're like, who are you?
Yeah. So no, I say and I know my cousin yesterday was like, can you believe someone wants to celebrate their birthday month? And I like shrunk in my chair because that is me. Like I wouldn't. If you want to take me out to lunch, I'm around.
Corey and I usually go see a movie.
Well,
we go to a lunch. We go to the coast.
We get a lot of our freebies that come via email.
We do that.
We do.
Hey, Body World.
But all right, bye.